Are you looking to grow your dental practice and attract top-tier new patients? Discover the potential of digital marketing with a personalized strategy session. Join Lila Stone, the marketing director at Equa, for an exclusive 90-minute consultation. Lila and her team will dedicate 6 hours before your meeting to create a customized marketing plan specifically for your practice. This valuable opportunity is free of charge and comes with no commitments. Visit www.insuranceuntangledorg/MSM to schedule your meeting with Lila today. You'll also receive a free analysis report so you can start transforming your practice through the power of digital marketing.
You are now listening to another episode of the Insurance Untangled podcast, where we explore the various challenges faced by dental practices due to their reliance on insurance. Join us in this podcast as we dive deep into the issues surrounding dental insurance dependence and offer practical solutions and strategies to help you take control of your practice's financial future.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another exciting episode of the Insurance Untangled podcast. I am Naren Arulrajah, one of the co-hosts of this podcast, dedicated to helping practices that are tangled up with insurance get out of that mess. Yes, I use the word mess. We talk about topics that help you take more control and create a bigger future for you, your patients, and of course, your team members. Today, my guest is my dear friend and someone I look up to because he's a subject matter expert when it comes to dealing with this messy insurance company, Ben Tuinei. Hey, Ben, how are you?
Hey, Naren. Really good. Thank you. It's great to chat with you today.
Thank you, Ben. So the topic we're going to be covering today is what's happening with our out-of-network insurance benefits. Are they getting better or are they getting worse? I think it's a wonderful topic, Ben. Would love to dive in. Let me start by asking you the first question that I have for you. So the topic again is what's happening with out-of-network insurance benefits? Are they getting better or worse? With so many doctors going out of network these days, how are insurance companies responding to out-of-network benefits?
That's a great question, Naren. You know, it's interesting that everybody knows, the doctors, the insurance companies, and now the employers and patients know that there's this trend in dentistry where doctors are fleeing their in-network agreements, right? So there's questions being asked about that. Like employers are asking, why are we getting notices every day, every week? There are doctors that are leaving the network. And, you know, as employers start to investigate this, they start to realize that they cannot reduce out-of-network benefits for their employees. If the provider networks are diminishing, what you're seeing is that employers are beefing up out-of-network benefits. They're investing more, or at least asking the insurance companies to invest on their part, keeping premiums where they've been, you know, with the standard slight increases, but making access to care easier for people, right? So that we don't have this situation where, you know, a common theme is that, well, I have insurance, but I can't even use it because I can't see a provider. That nobody's in network in my community. So this is more of a public concern, is that the in-network, unfortunately, is synonymous with access to care. The regulators, as well as the insurance industry, is feeling pressure to eliminate the access to care concerns so that kind of the old indemnity days, right, in the 60s and 80s, 70s and 80s, you could see any dental practice with your dental plan, regardless of whether they're in network or not, and you got a similar reimbursement no matter where you chose to go. Well, the good news, Naren, is that we're seeing those indemnity plans start to resurface. So as it pertains to going out of network, you will see some resistance from insurance companies encouraging employers to reduce out-of-network benefits, but the employers don't want to do that. Because what that does is it eliminates options for their employees, right? So right now, what we're seeing trend-wise is out-of-network benefits are increasing. They're getting better, primarily to address the fact that soon very few doctors will remain in network with certain PPO plans, right? So the employers need to make benefits attractive enough, or at least strong enough, to give people the choice to go anywhere they want, in network or out of network, right? So that's what we're seeing.
Thank you so much, Ben. I think this is awesome, right? Finally, people are taking control. I mean, when you look at the insurance record, there are multiple parties, the insurance company, and the way they make money is they collect premiums and they keep as much as possible and then give the doctors a tiny piece, right? That's how they make money. So they make it hard for the patients to, they make it hard for the patients. They make it hard for the doctors, right? The way they make it hard for the patients is they deny claims. So you show up 5 months and 29 days after your last cleaning, denied, right? The way they make it hard for the doctors is, like many claims they don't approve, and they don't pay on time, and they don't let you set your fees, and they control your fees, and even then, like, they only pay part of it, and people are like sick and tired of it. And I'm so glad dentists are rising up and saying, enough, this is nonsense, I'm not taking this anymore. But the good news, the silver lining in all of this is there is still this client relationship. Insurance companies must listen to employers because they are writing the checks. They don't listen to the patients, they don't listen to the doctors, but they have to listen to the employees. And employers must listen to their employees. Like, why would I spend $1,000 buying an insurance plans if my employees hate the plan? It doesn't make sense, right? Like, I'm taking my money that I can use to pat my pockets as the business owner, or add dividends to if you're a public company, and instead give it to employees if the employees hate that plan, right? And I'm so glad governments are finally waking up and saying we are going to listen to our voting public, who happens to be the patient. So not the 3 insurance companies in there, or 10 insurance companies and their CEOs, but rather the millions and millions and millions of patients in their states and of course in the country and so forth, right? So I'm so glad that's happening, Ben. So thank you for sharing this. And I think maybe it's like a point of no return. It's just the floodgates have opened, and now it's just a matter of like pushing it through, right? I know for a long time they were manipulating you and all that nonsense with the internet and information in our fingertips and people organizing, especially doctors. And like the Reducing Insurance Dependence community has 1,500 doctors. I mean, literally, they're all reducing insurance as we speak. They're like dropping 1 plan, 2 plans, 3 plans a year, and just getting rid of this menace. So it's really, really nice to hear, Ben. So thank you for sharing this. Let me ask you question number 2. What's your prediction on what out-of-network benefits will look like in 2 to 5 years, 10 years? I would love to hear that.
Absolutely. So because of the economy being somewhat slow, right? People aren't spending as much as they used to on elective things, right? Like the case of soda that 6 years ago, people would buy a bunch of them, but now people have no choice. They can't afford it. So discretionary spending is somewhat down in certain income categories. So because of that, you're seeing far less case acceptance, right? That trend has continued since 2020. It's getting better, but what you're finding these days is that there's a money concern among most residents. So naturally, the insurance industry looks at that as an opportunity to mess around with out-of-network benefits. So there are several insurance companies who I won't make mention of on the podcast, but last year they tried to lower benefits. What backfired on them, because it didn't stop the rate of doctors going out of network, right? All that did is it produced an enormous amount of complaints against the insurance companies in general. Why would you make that recommendation to give us a plan design that we can't even use because everybody's out of network in our community, right? And so this is my warning to the insurance people that listen to this podcast. Be very careful about lowering benefits. You are not representing your employers with that fiduciary responsibility that you're supposed to. And I think time will tell, right, where the insurance companies are going to continue to field complaints for not taking care of their clients by abandoning the provider networks, right, in terms of making it very difficult for doctors to say, yeah, I will stay in network. So 2 to 5 years from now, what we're going to see, Naren, is out-of-network benefits. Insurance companies are going to test them. They're going to eliminate out-of-network benefits. They're going to try to convert to EPO, which gives you no opportunity but to go in network. We saw what happened with that, with the HMO world, right? What happened with that is that doctors stopped participating with HMOs. And subsequently, because of that, the employers stopped using HMOs. So you don't really see a whole lot of HMO plans throughout the industry these days. Well, you can equate the HMO trend to the in-network trend, because that's exactly what's playing out, is that as more and more doctors are going out of network, there's more and more frustration among the employers to hold the insurance companies more accountable. And I am so happy to see that that trend is happening. But there is a contingent of the insurance companies that are resisting. So we'll see benefits take a dip in the next 2-3 years in terms of the insurance carriers imposing restrictions on where patients can go to try to force patients to go in network. That doesn't work. We've already seen that play out in many communities in the past with different plan types. So, but the insurance companies have to try. The other thing that you're going to see in the next 2 to 10 years is that because the insurance companies are being forced to pay out more in claims, which means that their bottom line is receding, right? It's that ever receding pocket of profitability that they're going through right now. So what do they have to do? Well, they're buying dental practices. And so we all heard about the Delta Dental in Wisconsin buying a DSO there. Well, that's not the first time an insurance company has purchased a group practice or a dental practice in general. This has been going on for the last 15 years, but we're going to see more of that happening. And then I predict that the government's going to get involved and say, this is a conflict of interest. How can you write insurance policies and then control dental practices at the same time? You know? So anyway, in the end, Naren, when we look at the 10-year outlook, the fee-for-service model it's coming back right now, and it's one in which vast majority of the doctors want to do. And so the insurance industry is in sort of a freak-out mode to prevent that from happening. And the only way they're going to do that is to eliminate out-of-network benefits, which fortunately the employers are not allowing that to happen. So in 10 years, it's very likely that in the indemnity style of dental plans will return for good, which means you could use your dollars, your benefit dollars, your insurance dollars, you could use them no matter where you go, right? That's my prediction, is that those types of plan designs will return sometime very soon.
Thank you so much. So what I'm hearing you say is the ones who are trying, I mean, it's like, what's the quote, right? You can fool some people sometimes, but you can't fool all the people all the time. I think what has happened is doctors are organizing thanks to the internet, thanks to Facebook groups, thanks to all these tools they have, WhatsApp and you name it. Like they're like, enough is enough. I'm not taking this nonsense anymore. And really, even though they are individuals, they have power as a group. And like I said, RIDA has 1,500 members, the Reducing Insurance Dependence Academy. So it is working. And I think it's just, you can't change the tide anymore. So if I were to kind of give you my 2 cents based on everything you just told me, I think those who try to, take advantage of the doctor and try to create all this nonsense and, pay differently from in-network and out-of-network will lose customers because the employees will say, forget it. This is a garbage plan. Nobody's, or 30% of the doctors or 20% of the doctors are in network. Why would my patients go here? The whole reason they're coming here is they have choice. This is, again, the United States of America, right? Meaning it's all about choice, right? This is not communist China where you're told, thou shall go to this doctor or else, that doesn't work, right? And especially in a world of Google reviews, right? Would I go to a doctor who sucks just because he's on my plan? No way. They won't do it. So in the old days, there was no Google reviews. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe they're all equal. They're not equal. Somebody is amazing and I want to go to the amazing guy. And if my insurance doesn't cover it, I'm going to have a conversation with my insurance administrator. I'm going to say, the 3 people who are covered, they have 2.3 Google reviews. Why would I go there? Would you go there? Then the insurance company would say, why am I giving $1 million to this insurance company who doesn't cover the good doctors? And the good doctors know they can't do good dentistry if they are getting paid peanuts, like 40, 50% of what they produce. So I get it. I understand why this is happening. Now, before there was no Google reviews, so you didn't know. Everybody was the same. Now it's not. Everybody's not the same.
Right. Yep. No, I agree.
Let me go to the next question. Does the change in out-of-network benefits build a more solid case for doctors to go out of network? That's a great question.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I think that's the money question for this episode is should you consider going out of network, right? Or is the industry setting you up for better success as you transition towards out of network? And the answer to that is yes. Is like what you just mentioned, is that the employers are finally paying attention. They're calling out their insurance companies and they're firing them, right? And so, like, imagine if you had Delta Dental and you fire Delta Dental and then you pick MetLife. And MetLife knows that you fired Delta Dental for the reasons that they have a diminishing provider network. And MetLife is looking at this thinking, well, our provider network is way smaller than Delta Dental. So how are we going to kind of structure benefits? And the answer to that from an insurance perspective is we need to make sure that the out-of-network benefits are generous so that we don't get complaints from our employer that our patients can't go to many practices, right? They can use their benefits no matter where they go. And so in terms of out-of-network, the question on, is there a stronger case to go out-of-network these days? The answer to that is yes. Why is the answer yes? Is because in the last 5 years, that's been the trend, is that doctors have been going out-of-network in the thousands, and that's already shown to be very beneficial for the doctor community, right? In terms of your insurance contract, it is now significantly more favorable for doctors to go out of network for the reasons that we mentioned, right? So, but it's also the trend of out of network has increased the ability to negotiate for those that want to remain in network, but those that are still in network are still having a hard time negotiating fees. So, but what I'll say about that is that with the right experts, what you do tend to find is that there are more strategies, there are higher fee increases that are available. You just you need to get the right people involved. Kind of like what Naren says on his episodes is when you have the right partners, you do tend to find that you could seize on these opportunities based upon where the current trends are heading.
Can you expand on that? What kind of partners are you looking at? I know marketing is a key piece, and of course we would love to help. But outside of marketing, what are the partners you think could help you with this, Ben?
Absolutely. I would say insurance partner outside of marketing, of course, for new patient flow, really great resource there. But as it pertains to out of network, Gary Takis, one of the best in the industry. I would follow the Facebook page that you mentioned, right? The I Love Dentistry Facebook page.
Yeah.
So go to those and
we'll put a link to I Love Dentistry, right? So we'll create a link there, and we will definitely start sharing information. So dentistry, and you'll get tons of resources. Join the Reducing Insurance Dependence Academy, right? So go to rid.academy. There's a conference coming up. So those are all awesome resources and awesome. And I'm going to be blunt, Ben. You are an amazing resource. You know so much about dealing with this nightmare called insurance than anybody else on the planet, right? So if somebody is interested in getting a hold of you, Ben, how can they do that?
Well, thank you for that plug, Naren. Yeah, visit our website, veritasdentalresources.com. What we normally do is an assessment on PPO negotiating and contract strategies. When we get into the out-of-network stuff, Gary Takis is my man. Like, I love him. I love his education. I love how he teaches out-of-network. And quite frankly, to me, it's one of the best in the industry in terms of patient retention and growth. But if you need an assessment on PPO fees, check out veritasdentalresources.com, and we'd be happy to give you a PPO assessment.
Thank you, Ben. Last question before we wrap this up. What is your recommendation for doctors who are uncertain if they should go out of network, but really want to head in that direction?
I think I honestly think that consulting with a professional, kind of like what I mentioned with regards to Gary Takis, do a consultation with him and his team in terms of an assessment on out of network. You get like what we talk about with the marketing strategy meeting. That's another one to do. Go to insuranceentangle.com/MSM, do a marketing strategy meeting to kind of look at your marketing dynamics before you go out of network. Because when you go out of network, you may lose new patient opportunities because you're listed. You're in network. Naturally, in network practices have an ability for organic growth. So marketing is a key one. In terms of straight out of network, maybe we can post a link to book a meeting with Gary. I hear consistent feedback every single day about how those types of consultations really do help a doctor understand, at least address the questions of uncertainty and fuel that with hope and confidence to where, when you look at the realities in your practice numbers on what things could look like if you go out of network. Gary and his team are among the best in the industry to do that type of assessment.
Thank you so much, Ben. Really enjoyed this conversation. And I also want to take a minute to thank our listeners. Without you, we won't be able to do what what we are doing. So if you want to learn more, go to our YouTube page, go to the insuranceuntangled.com website. And by the way, if you want to book a meeting with Gary Takas, go to thrivingdentist.com. So that's one word, thrivingdentist.com/CSM for a coaching strategy meeting, CSM. Gary is a blunt person. Once you meet him, you will know. If he thinks you should go out of network, he'll tell you. He'll tell you what steps you need to take, and you're ready to go. Or if he thinks you're not ready, he will tell you that too. But I do think, like Ben said, you really need to think this through, because if you don't do it right, you can be in a whole heap of trouble.
Right.
And also don't forget to go to the Reducing Insurance Dependence Academy website, rid.academy. And we have an event coming up, a huge summit on October 24th. Sign up for it. It's 5 hours of CE, and we are giving it all away. So pretty much the Insurance Untangled program is sponsoring you. So go there and sign up. Thank you, everyone. And thank you, Ben, for a wonderful episode. And till we meet again, have a wonderful rest of the week.